Sure. Obviously, Coach, with those that aren't going to be able to go that how's practice been going this week and what adjustments have you had to make?
Well, practice has been really good. It was great to be back with the team yesterday. But Monday and Tuesday went well. The coaches' staff ran it real well. The kids practiced hard. We've had to make a few adjustments, but injury-wise, you'd have to do that anyway, so it's gone. Practice has gone well.
Tom?
Sam, we get to ask you about Felipe and his left hand and wrist during the course of the week. How's he looked? Is he ready to roll?
Yeah, he is. There are really no complications with that hand, and he's ready to go. Practice every day this week.
Nikki?
Coach, Treylon Smith, what has, his production meant for this team and also just his general attitude?
He's awesome. He's tough, hard worker, just a great kid to be around. A lot of fun to be around. I like messing with him, because I can get him pumped up pretty fast, but he's tough, and he runs hard and makes the line better, makes the team better. Just been very, very proud of the way he's played, and it's all centers around how important the game is to him and how much effort he gives. And to me, he's got Arkansas football player written all over him. That's what we're made of. He's the type of kid that makes us have success.
Scotty?
Coach, earlier in the week, I think you mentioned Trey Knox and Tyson Morris are probably going to have to step in, in place of Davion. How was their week of practice been? You feel like they're ready to go?
Both of them have had good practices. I think you'll see both of them Saturday morning, and they'll be ready to go. But we've caught the ball well this week, and we've cut down a little bit of practice this week simply because of numbers and because of, it's later in the year. We would do that anyway, but not a lot, but enough to, try to save some legs, and we're down a little bit number-wise. So, but those two guys certainly have had good weeks. Got a lot of confidence in them.
Trey Biddy?
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned earlier this week that you guys are spending a little extra time on third downs, both offense and defense. So I was curious how that's going this week.
Well, I think yesterday it ended up 500, 2 for 4 on offense and defense with the ones, and I think the twos were a little less than that. It might have been a 1 for 4 day, maybe 2 for 4. I think it was a 1 for 4 day with the twos against the twos. So we had 8 reps total, and we graded them. I mean, we wanted that to be a big emphasis on practice, and it was, and I thought both sides did well on it.
Hutch?
Yeah, Sam, Felipe's on track to break the school record for completion percentage. I mean, has he lived up to your expectations with what you thought you were getting with him, or has he maybe been even better than you could have imagined?
No, I'm a big Felipe Franks fan, always have been whenever I was over at Georgia and he was playing against him. He was a scary dude to play against, To be honest with you, I have high expectations for everybody. And he's certainly been the player that I thought he would be. But the expectations when he came here was to do what he's doing for our football team, and he's doing what I thought he could do.
Bob?
Hey, Sam, I was doing some on Brooks and Fouché. I was wondering if you could maybe say something about each of them, how you think they've played this season. And with them both being Louisiana kids, do you think they get a little extra pumped up to play LSU?
I imagine they would, It's the same thing. I don't think either one of them were offered by LSU. So that's, that honestly right now that happens frequently, you know, in the SEC when we're playing teams, and obviously they're from that state. They probably wanted to go to LSU or had fond memories of LSU, but they both are playing really well. You know, Greg's had some big plays for us this year, and certainly anytime you got a guy that's starting as many games as he has, obviously he's the best you have at that position, and he's done a nice job. And then Joe's just Joe. You know, I love Joe Fouché. I love everything he brings to our program, brings a lot of grit to our program, brings a lot of personality to our program, very physical player. And, you know, I love him. I love both the guys. I think they're great assets to our team.
Nate.
Sam, with the tempo offense, just what has made it so effective lately as compared to early in the year, and how much has that helped your running game?
I don't think we're hurting ourselves as much as we did early in the year, you know, with alignments. And I'm talking about pre-snap stuff, you know, where we were having to flip it back or get it wide out on, a guy wide out off. Maybe our splits weren't correct, things of that nature that are so important to success of plays. I think the quarterback has had less time making sure everybody on the offense is aligned right, where now he can look at the defense and have some things that are important to him pre-snap for his success. And I think all those things together have helped us. Certainly when we get into our tempo, we played really well. The team's bought into, listen, we really can't get into that until we get the first down. I think they've bought into that. And after we get a first down, a lot of times you'll see us have really good success during that drive, as long as we stay penalty free during that drive.
Otis.
Well, I was a designated Nate Dogg question asker, and he's here. So, but Sam, talk about Jalen Catalon, redshirt freshman. He's not only playing great, but he's kind of stepping up as a leader. And just is he exceeding what you would expect from a redshirt freshman?
Yes, and again, we have high expectations for everybody on our football team. But yes, I mean, and I'm talking about just his physical play too. I mean, he's a physical guy, and knows what he's doing. Is the captain back there for the secondary, and just very smart guy, and certainly a tenacious hitter.
Kyle.
Coach, what did it feel like for you to open the door to the facility and, you know, be back around your team yesterday?
No, it was awesome. I mean, that's why you get into coaching, to be around kids and your staff, and it was wonderful. You know, I got a new red door in my office. It was 2 glass doors, and now it's red, so that kind of made me pumped up when I got in here today. That's kind of a surprise. I'd ordered it a long time ago, needed a little privacy, and I finally got my red door. So that was exciting to get that too.
Trey Schaff.
Yeah, Coach, I guess, was it more therapeutic for you or the team to see you back? And then second, what would it mean to you if you're able to bring the boot back to Fayetteville for the fans and for this team?
Well, it was probably more therapeutic for me. You know, the kids had Barry and the staff running it while I was gone, so it was probably a little bit more for me than the kids. But the boot, Louisiana LSU game is a big deal for Arkansas. It's a big deal, and we have approached it that way. Obviously, all games are important. This has a little extra juice to it, obviously, and we'd love to have the boot stay here. We know we have a big challenge. We know they're a great football team, but certainly we're excited to play on Saturday.
Tom.
I guess you got your last testing numbers back today, but you're having another round of testing. you feel pretty good that you guys have got this thing contained and that the numbers you've had at practice are going to be available?
No, I don't feel good about
Ah.
COVID. I mean, I think everybody's looking for an answer, and I'll give you the answer. We're going to play Saturday as of right now. We're going to play. We have a test that we took today that gets back tomorrow. And I'm going to just tell you the truth. We're running thin, and we want to play the game. But you have to have adequate numbers to play the game, and we are thin. And so if we have a good test tomorrow, then by golly, we're going to play the game. We want to play the game. We have not talked to our players 1 second about not playing the game because we want to play the game. They want to play. And so as long as our numbers will allow us to play, that's what we're going to do. Are we thin? Yes.
Nikki.
Coach TJ Finley, he's a really young player. You mentioned him briefly on Monday, but what have you seen after watching more film on him and what he could present as a challenge to you guys?
As you watch him a little bit more, he got a much stronger arm than what I thought. From watching him the first couple of games, I was more concerned about him taking the ball down and running. And obviously there's concern there, Nikki, but he has a much liver arm as you continue to watch him than what I earlier thought. So the guy can hurt you both throwing and running. Played a great game against South Carolina. And so he's just a double threat. He's one of those quarterbacks that you're not – it's hard to prepare for because he can hurt you when things break down. And so we're certainly trying to be ready for that. But I think to answer your question was the strength of his arm is a little bit more surprising as I continue to watch him.
Trey Biddy.
Coach, I was curious about recruiting in the state of Louisiana. You guys brought a couple of guys in last year, have 8 players from Louisiana on the roster. How important is that state to your guys' recruitment because they do produce so many players? And who's in there? Is it? I know probably Coach LeBlanc.
Derek's in there. Brad Davis is in there. I think that's it right now. I think Derek and Brad. Jimmy Smith may have a small portion of that too. It's not, Trey, it's not exactly right on the top of my head simply because, we haven't been out for quite a while. Well, ever, I guess, since, we have, but not since March, I guess. But anyhow, it's very important to us. As we've stated a long time ago, Trey, that if it's a border state to us, it's our hotbed. That's where we want to, Arkansas and the ones that are touching us, we think that's where we can do the most damage in recruiting. Not to say we can't go to Georgia or go to wherever, Florida, but the ones that are touching it, it's easier to sell. It's easier to sell the parents, where they're in driving distance, things of that nature. So it's a very important state to us.
Hutch.
Sam, you talked about Trey Knox a little bit earlier, but I'm sure this season hasn't gone exactly how he had hoped. I mean, how's his attitude been throughout the year? And could you tell maybe this week he has a little maybe extra pep in his step knowing that he's going to get another opportunity?
I can tell that he's excited about this week. Anytime that you started and then you're not necessarily starting or not playing as near as much as you would, that's hard. I mean, it'd be hard on a grown man. That's hard. Very, very thankful the way he handled it. And I think he's extremely excited about his opportunity this Saturday as well as I am and our offensive staff. But he's shown a lot of maturity in this situation that was dealt to him.
Ty.
Coach, I know you thanked Ed earlier this week, kind of his upbringing into the head coaching stardom at LSU, going from being a defensive line coach to that. whether it's just starting on either the offensive, defensive line, having a really solid job in recruiting and seemingly to have a number of different relationships. Do you see any similarities between you and Ed Ogeron?
You know, I don't know him well. I know that if you speak of him, words like recruiter, players coach, motivator, things of that nature come from other people when you talk about Coach Ogeron. So hopefully some of those things come out about myself and our staff. But, you know, he worked his way. You look at his resume, it's very similar to mine. I mean, he had to go to a lot of different schools to finally land a head coaching job, and certainly being at Ole Miss, and then certainly being at LSU, and then win a national championship. Those are things that I really can't speak of because I certainly haven't done anything like that. But he surrounded himself with great coaches, and that's I think, you know, I heard him speak about that from his first job to this job, and where he's kind of been a little bit more of a head coach in the fact that he's allowing his coaches to do a little bit more this time than maybe what he did at Ole Miss, and learning from those things. I heard him speak, and certainly I'm a guy that hire people to do a job, and then they need to go do it. And if I was better offensive coordinator than Kendall, then I'd call the plays. And if I was better than Barry, I'd call the defensive plays. The same way with Scott. And I'm not. I'm a guy that, you know, sees things in practice and makes sure that they are what I think should fit our program. And the rest of the guys, they do most of the coaching.
Last one, Bob.
Okay, I'll make it a two-parter. Hey, one thing, to follow up on Brooks, he told us the other night that LSU came in on him. I think he said his high school coach told him on signing day, hey, LSU's interested in talking to you. And he was like, I'm going to Arkansas. I'm committed to them. How good is it to know that? Because you probably didn't know that because you weren't here. And then two, I kind of forgot it was a morning kickoff till you mentioned it. You already played a lot of 11 a.m. games the last 2 years, but this will be the first one. How do you think you guys are ready to go for 11 a.m.?
Well, I'll be honest with you. If somebody comes in on you the day of signing date, they really didn't want you. And so, I mean, that's just the truth. You know, they waited till signing date to find you. You probably weren't at the top of their list. Okay, I hate to say that, but it's true. And then the second thing, the 11 o'clock, we had, you know, we've already run through that before. You know, we had a 7 a.m., we had a scrimmage, and we had 7 a.m. pregame, and we went out and scrimmaged at 11 o'clock getting ready for this game, for any 11 o'clock. Well, we kind of were hoping we'd get 11 o'clock game before game 8. You know, it seemed to me like we're the night squad. But being 11 in the morning, we're looking forward to that. We've already ran through that. We had a scrimmage at 11 solely for the reason of being ready. We've already been there, done that for this LSU game.
All right, that'll wrap us up. Thanks, Coach.
Go Hogs.